What is limiting the 49ers offense? As we know, Steve Young says Jimmy Garoppolo, really good, should be here the next 10 years. Everyone feels that the Niners' array of weapons is among the best, if not the best, in the league. And a lot of people feel that Kyle Shanahan is among the best, if not the best, offensive play caller in the league. And yet, they're averaging 18 points per game when they're not playing an NFC West opponent. 18. Yesterday was 13. What's the deal? What is the number one limiting factor on this offense?
It's a good question. They have weapons.
Yep.
They can run the football at times.
Is it the offensive line?
I
mean, they've played well for the most part. Didn't
I
play
like
well
what
yesterday.
they've done inside for the most part.
Yeah.
Outside, I think Trent has been I think he's regressed from what people think of when they think of him and think of, oh, he's just super elite. I don't think he's been super elite. And McGlinchey, I think, has struggled at times. At times, I think the play calling's been odd.
Yeah, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, I didn't like the way they used Trey Lance between the tackles.
Yep.
I do like that Jimmy has shown growth to throw it away.
Yep.
But that doesn't necessarily, that prevents turnovers. You know, it's interesting.
Right.
Turnovers, I think, prevent wins. If you don't turn it over, I think you win games, but you don't score as many points.
Right.
Like if you throw the ball away, yeah, you didn't turn it over, but you're also not, doesn't help you score points necessarily. So that's what
Let me come back to something you said earlier.
But they're not necessarily scoring an overwhelming number of points.
You said earlier that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't see the field well. I think let's go there because I think this is sort of the heart of the issue. And the question is it Jimmy Garoppolo not seeing the field or is it Kyle Shanahan telling Jimmy, throw here? And I don't think we'll ever know because we're not in the headset. But I think that's it. And it's either Kyle is a micromanager and he's telling Jimmy where to go, in which case he's coaching a one-read passing game, or Jimmy is just a one-read quarterback and he decides pre-snap where he's going and that's that. I guess we'll never know. But to me, the running game is broken right now. But the passing game, it's a one-read vanilla passing game. Until they fix that, they're always going to be worse than the sum of their parts.
To me, the passing game would look a lot more dynamic if they threw more passes to their most dynamic receiver, which is Brandon Ayuk.
True.
They look relatively plodding up and down the field because they don't throw it to Ayuk very often. For considering where he is in his career, where he is as far as, he should be getting the ball a lot more. Then there hasn't been Danny Gray. They haven't used Gray at all. They pretty much, Ray McLeod gets used sparingly. So that's their speed. So I don't, Debo, Kittle, Jennings, that's their chain movers. And seem like they go more to their chain moving guys. Heck, we've seen passes to Charlie Warner down the field. That would be, I think a little bit of the play calling, a little bit of Jimmy not seeing it, a little bit of questionable line play on the right side. Seems like they really run a left a lot. And I think teams know that. Yep. So it's like they're not confident running right. They're running a lot left. Teams know that they're better on the left side in the run game. So you're seeing them run into teams that kind of anticipating where they're going to run it. I think there's a lot more negative run plays or negative yardage plays because the line's not creating holes than I remember in past years.
Also, I think, penalties, like Jake Brendel doing an admirable job, 9 penalties already this year. Yeah. And they got 6 games to go. McGlinchey has 5 holding penalties already, and that's a career high for him. So the offensive line, you got to give the offensive line coach credit, but still, they get exposed at the worst times.
Well, and you just said it. Think of the most talented guys offensively on the offensive line. They're on the left side. When you're more talented, you can block guys straight out. You don't have to tackle them. When you're getting beat, then you got to make a business decision, and that's when you start getting penalties. But it's way too many penalties on Brendel. I do think Brendel's done some good things. I like what I've seen out of Burford and Banks, but McGlinchey has struggled. I think he looks a little sore and like trying to show everybody that he's going to play the full season for free agency. I think he'll probably leave in free agency. That'd be my guess. But I don't know that it's benefiting the 49ers because it seems like there's some games I'm thinking there's got to be somebody they could put in there at right tackle that would give them as much or more.
When they talk about the Niners being in rhythm on offense in the passing game, to me, with this team, that's Jimmy Garoppolo getting the ball in shotgun, having his first read be open, rocking and firing. That's not the entire rhythm. Like back in the day with Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, there was a rhythm of going through your progressions. The first read wasn't always going to be open, but there was a progression of A, B, C, and Joe Montana could do it on time and rhythm. And it feels like any time that Jimmy Garoppolo's first read isn't open, it's like a panic almost. Like, okay, I'm chopping my feet, I'm looking around, I'm searching, and if I have time, I can look all over the field. It just doesn't feel like there's any rhythm or structure beyond the first read. And what you see a lot of, especially yesterday, was Jimmy patting his feet, looking around, and then checking it down at the last second to McCaffrey as he got hit. I mean, that must have happened 4 or 5 times yesterday.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Jimmy when he has to do that. Like, hey, where is the offense here? Where are the secondary wide receivers getting open? It almost feels like the wide receivers are in the huddle and they're like, oh, okay, that one's for Debo. All right, well, I'm not getting the ball this time. It's like, well, you can't have a great offense if 4 of the 5 eligible receivers know they're not getting the ball and are running routes accordingly. You can't have a good offense that way.
I don't think that's the case. I don't
Better
think
not
that,
be.
But I will say this. I like the 2 things that I like from Jimmy are he's throwing more balls away and there's less negative plays, but I also love the fact that he now has McCaffrey to dump it off to.
Yep.
Because it's like I've seen him now drop it to McCaffrey when he's got absolutely nothing, and instead of going to 2nd and 10, might be 1st and 10 because they get 12 yards, or it might be 2nd and 2 because they got 8 yards. So, I mean, I just think that McCaffrey just is the perfect weapon to add to Garoppolo. Now, though, it sounds like they've ridden McCaffrey so hard that they're probably going to need to give him a little bit of a rest. And who replicates what he does? I
never understood why the Niners were giving the ball to McCaffrey as a running back on 1st down. Why? Like, just throw it to him in the flat on 2nd down, because he'll if you're in 2nd and 5 and you throw a swing pass to McCaffrey, 1st down. But if you hand it to him on 1st and 10, I mean, there's other running backs I'd rather give that handoff to. Just saying. And you're going to get McCaffrey hurt.
Yeah, and if they really want to have these conservative runs, and it's not just that they're running McCaffrey, it's the kinds of runs they're running him on. They're running him on runs that are designed to get 4 yards.
Right.
Exactly. It's like stop running this speed merchant, big play threat on these runs that are designed for 4 yards. You have a 235-pound, ready, willing, and able rookie running back, Jordan Mason. Let him run those those carries. Let him run and bang heads inside. And then if you get to 2nd and long, then throw it to Christian 15 yards down the field.
And stop using McCaffrey as a goal line back just to pad his numbers and justify the trade, because we all know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Use your goal line back as Jordan Mason. You can justify the Christian McCaffrey trade by throwing him the ball, which is the proper way to use it.